What does a rock star and an artist have in common with homesteading? Nothing, really. We decided to change all that when we left the only life we knew in one of the busiest cities in Canada for 20 acres of wide open spaces 2 hours away. And if you don't know us, we're Rick and Amanda, two dreamers who took a huge leap of faith in pursuit of a simpler life. Turns out, it's not that simple. We've never worked harder, but we've never been happier. This is us, it's who we are, and how we do it. Today, we're telling it all.
Come on, chickens.
Hi guys, welcome to Whitewood Acres. Thanks for joining us today. So being that this is a relatively new channel, we polled our friends on Facebook and asked them what they would like to know about us, and we thought we'd do a little Q&A, get to know us video. A lot of people have been asking why it's usually just me in the videos and where's Rick. So there's actually a couple good reasons for that. Well, when we left the city and moved here, I was able to fortunately leave the workforce so I could devote all of my time to this place. And I would say I'm definitely head of operations here.
Yeah, for sure.
But, you know, Rick is a very vital cog to the homestead machine. He's just not always here with me, and that's because he has a day job. And he's actually, for lack of a better term, he's a rock star. And he plays for fingereleven, and he's been touring a lot this year. So I've been kind of manning the homestead a lot on my own.
Yeah, but when I'm home, it's on.
It's on. So what the guys think when you and I decided to peace out and go Green Acres?
They were surprised, but they also probably weren't surprised because we're a little bit like that. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I mean, I know a couple of them said that they were a little envious because of the time when we did it, everybody was trapped in their homes, and all of a sudden we had this big space we were going to go in and live life in it. More of a congratulations feeling.
That's cool. I think everybody was really...
Maybe don't cut your fingers off kind of feeling?
Yeah. Definitely don't cut your fingers off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were surprised when we decided to do this. And, you know, that was another question, was why? Why did we decide to do this?
Yeah, the timing was right.
It happened during COVID. The timing was right for sure. In the summer of COVID, we were in our tiny space in Toronto, our little tiny backyard, and we were bored and we were looking for stuff to do. So everything was locked down. Couldn't be with anyone, you couldn't go anywhere. So we just decided to pack up our young son and our dog and get in the car and drive. And we'd leave the city, and sometimes we'd go east, sometimes we'd go west. And we just started seeing other people's properties and their large gardens and their outbuildings that could be a studio, or, you know, we just started like dreaming and talking. And before we knew it, that was in July, and we were moving into our 20-acre farm in October.
Yeah, it happened fast.
It happened fast. So that's how we ended up here. And it was just kind of a natural progression into homesteading. We really were just looking to spread our wings and have some space, you know, have our own space. And this place previously was a farm, but it really was just a blank canvas. There was not anything here. So we were able to just look at it and say, what do you want to do? And so it wasn't really originally like our plan to start a homestead. We were already kind of into gardening, and we were really inspired by this land, and we just started kind of learning how to forage it. And there's actually wild mushrooms and elderberries, and we tapped our own trees for syrup.
Yeah. The vegetation that was here is pretty well, because I remember before we were moving here, you traded a lady to get a black raspberry plant. Yeah. And we were so excited because we were like, okay, cool, grow some black raspberries when we moved there. And then we got here and it's all over the place. We have
I picked pounds of black raspberries, and the one I brought here hasn't given us a single berry.
No, it's wild. When you start looking and you start seeing what's already here, there's a lot.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's true. It's very cool. And then, immediately we got chickens when we came here. Immediately. Yeah, we weren't even unpacked yet, and we had chicks living in our in our basement downstairs. We didn't even have a coop yet.
No. Yeah.
So we really hit the ground running with that. We got our coop built, and we're planning on having lots more animals. We're pretty passionate about rescuing, so I'm thinking it's probably going to end up more to be like a sanctuary than an actual farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're probably just going to collect a lot of adorable furry freeloaders.
Yeah. Give them a good place to live out there.
Oh, yeah. Live out their golden years, exactly. And we're old, so we don't really need to be starting with, brand new baby livestock either, anything that might possibly outlive us.
Right.
I think that might not be a smart idea. Donkeys, goats for sure.
Yeah.
We'd really like to get...
I'd like to get a pig.
A pig, yeah. And I've had my heart set on peacocks for years. I'm looking forward to that. And fancy chickens, of course, because it didn't take long for me to become a crazy chicken lady. So I drag these guys to poultry shows and auctions.
They're fun.
They're fun, though. They're fun. And
they smell horrible.
They smell horrible. But last time we came home with 2 new chickens.
Yeah. It's great to see all the different livestock and stuff. And that's the nice thing about this place, too, is like Amanda was saying, it's a blank canvas. So if we want to add to it, we can. And that will happen. As the more animals we collect, we'll just start to build off that. So it's great.
Exactly. Yeah, but before we dive into livestock, we want to learn all that we can because we know nothing. And we knew nothing when we came here at all. Luckily, we're fortunate enough to have a tenant farmer that was already kind of grandfathered in when we moved here, and we've kept the deal going. He brings a few head of cattle here to enjoy their summers in our pasture and just live their best life. And sometimes we take payment from him, and other times we kind of barter for tractor work. He helped us put in 300 feet of livestock fence last year. Or I think we helped him rather.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It was more like that.
No, he has become a mentor of sorts.
Absolutely.
For sure. And he's been very helpful. And, I think maybe we might enjoy it. It's a sort of symbiotic relationship because he probably gets a kick out of...
He probably gets a bit of a chuckle out of us.
Well, we're truly interested and it's knowledge that we just don't know and we have to learn. I'd rather learn the proper way from someone who's done it than,
And he seems happy enough to lend that expertise and his experience to us, and he's been incredibly invaluable to this farm. I didn't even know about tenant farming or any of this kind of stuff before we moved here.
Yeah.
And I love the relationship that we have.
And we get cows every year.
Oh,
and they're awesome.
We love them.
Yeah, I want one of them to be our pet.
Yeah. That's an expensive freeloader.
Yeah.
Another lesson I've really learned is discipline. We have learned a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
And I mean, without it, this lifestyle is impossible. Rick is a rock star, and my background is in art. And, in most recent years, I was a cake artist. And, we really worked hard when we lived in the city to tailor our lives. So we were making our own rules.
Yeah.
We did what we wanted. And, it was great. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Things are a lot different now. There's no sleeping in and days off or sick days,
There's no procrastinating.
No procrastinating. Things are seasonal, very seasonal. You have to work with the weather. If you have certain projects coming up and there's going to be bad weather coming, you best get out there and do it on a nice day. And when the seasons are changing, there's just things that need to be done.
Yeah.
To kind of convert, for the season. And you can't wait. You cannot wait. I had to put snow fence around our pond, And if I didn't, like, he was on tour, and normally that's something that we would do ourselves, but I just had to put my nose to the grindstone and put in all the T-posts, because if I didn't put them all in, the ground was going to freeze, and that job was not getting done this year. And, you know, sometimes there can be devastating consequences to that kind of stuff. So you have to get on it.
Yeah.
You have to do it, whether you like it or not. And, you know, it's really important. We're really made sure we outfitted ourselves properly for weather and all seasons.
Yeah, well, that's what to your point, we've learned that the right tool for the right job is incredibly important. That comes with clothing, but also the actual tools. And like, it's just, I don't know, in the city or before, we could get by with the tools we had and we made it work. But when you take on the real projects out here and you need stuff done, it's like there's a reason for those specific tools.
Absolutely.
Especially shovels. Like, I didn't know there's so many varieties of shovels for different reasons, but it matters.
It does matter.
Yeah.
It absolutely does. Rakes too.
Yeah. A lot of different rakes.
So funny. It's true. So yeah, it's definitely physical and it's hard work, but you know, we have a lot of fun here too. And even the work is, I don't really think it's hard, you know, like
No.
it may be like difficulty physical wise or maybe not knowing what to do, but I never get up and I'm like, oh God, I have to clean a chicken coop today, or you know,
No,
like it,
definitely.
everything I do here gives me a real sense of purpose, and
Very rewarding.
it's
Yeah.
very, very rewarding. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially things like that you can see, like we spend an entire day mowing, and at the end of the day, you know, we're standing on the deck going, it looks so nice when it's mowed, you know, it doesn't look so nice when it's mowed. And so it's just, it's funny how like things that used to be a chore
Yeah.
are they're way more of a chore now, but they're not a chore at all.
Right,
You know,
right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so much more to do, but it feels like less
Yes.
work. It's gratifying.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely. But we get outdoors so much more than we ever did. Even in the winter, we snowshoe in the winter. Last year we tapped our own maple trees. And, you know, one thing about this place is I've always wanted it to be a destination. So we're so far away from everyone. We're 2 hours away from our closest loved one. And, you know, we really wanted to make this place somewhere where people could come and experience what we're living.
Yeah.
And like this year we tapped our own trees, and when we were boiling our syrup, we did it on a few different days. It was a social event. You know, we invited people over. We all sat out, you know, around the fire, and the kids were in their snowsuits playing, and you know, it was great. I love that, and I look forward to making that an annual thing.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, one thing is we really downsized our house when we moved here. We upsized our property, but we really downsized our house. So we're kind of adding places where people can stay here. We added a bunkie this year, and we have a camper that we're restoring, you know, so we can have more people come. And we've had plenty of people come and camp in our backyard.
Yep.
Which is fun because we just go out there and camp too. We just all go out there together and make a weekend of it, and it's really magical.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's really fun when people visit us now, knowing us in our former lives, how surprised they are. Some people who hadn't been here before had some preconceived notions of, you know, a house with like a big yard, you know, like a couple acres, which is really all we were looking for in the first place when we found this place. I love surprising them with the way that we live, you know, surprising them with our accomplishments. I'm surprised by our accomplishments.
Yeah, I mean, you see how much we've done in the little amount of time we've been here.
Absolutely. It's just so satisfying. Like even when we go downstairs, we go shopping in our pantry now, you know, and it's shelves of food that we grew and processed and preserved. And I mean, like from popcorn to sponges,
Yeah.
It's very cool. As time goes on here, how we've kind of leaned into it, and it's really become important to us to kind of be self-sufficient and leave a little bit less of a footprint. When you have your own water source, for myself personally, having our own water source really got me thinking about just pollution and the cleanliness of the water. And used to just turn on a tap and not really think about where it comes from. Now, we have to make sure that our well is maintained, our water filtration is good, and that our well is flowing, and I really care now what goes into the groundwater.
Yeah, it's all connected. So
absolutely.
Like we don't want the runoff of pesticides. We don't want the pesticides for many reasons.
No.
But one of the reasons is we know it will go into the ground, and it will go into the groundwater, and it'll go into our well.
Yeah.
And that's something we don't want.
And that's why we're careful about not using pesticides and, growing organically, because we do care what goes into our groundwater.
Yeah.
We produce so much for ourselves, and we've learned some new skills. Like Rick has really learned a lot about mechanics since we lived here.
Yeah.
You have to, because you will be waiting for days, and a lot of times you can't wait. Like if something's broken down and we need repairs done, we're just having to learn how to do it ourselves more often than not.
Yeah, I mean, we went from not having a car for 10 years to having now 2 cars, an ATV, a mower, the snowblower, Titus's ATV. Like, we have a lot of vehicles, and it's just, you look at it and it's like, well, either I can learn about this because I'm going to need to, or I'm going to constantly having someone else take care of it because something's going to go wrong and need maintaining.
Well, that's exactly.
But that's just an example. There's many things like that out here that you just need to make a decision. Either you learn yourself or bring someone else to do it, and that gets fairly frustrating really fast.
That's right. You don't always have the luxury of waiting, and we're very lucky to have good neighbors as well. Our neighbor across the street has helped us, get our snowblower going. We've had some really deep snows here, and he's been really helpful with stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely something you have to know the basics of at the very least.
Yes.
Really, I'm proud of you for learning that. But yeah, it's there's a lot to learn, and it's humbling at times.
Yeah, definitely.
But incredibly rewarding and fulfilling. And I mean, how good do you feel when you take on something that you have never done before and get it working, get it running, get it fixed? It's pretty cool feeling.
It is.
Yeah. So I had a few people ask actually about the pros and the cons, and I think we've talked a lot about the pros, but can you think of any cons?
2. The modern convenience that somewhere like the suburbs of the city brings you with, like eating out, late night opening stores, like all that stuff just around the corner. That doesn't exist.
I can't send you out in the middle of making dinner for sour cream.
No, there's in the middle
and have it there before dinner is made.
So there's a lot more planning ahead, but I wouldn't necessarily say that's a con. It's just there's times where it's like, oh wow, we're gonna have to go without.
Sometimes you have to go without.
Yes,
but we're pretty good about planning ahead.
But it just changes your sort of the way.
And we've learned to kind of stockpile a little bit too, and I don't mean in like a doomsday kind of way. Like we don't have like buckets and buckets of food or anything, but we do pay attention to what we eat the most and things that are non-perishable, and we do just kind of stockpile them up. So it's easier to just go down there and to the pantry and grab what we want. And sometimes it's just nice to not leave here for a few days.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had that luxury in my life that I could actually stay home and.
It's great. I mean, we went from literally leaving the house 10 times a day to maybe once every couple days, and it really lets you relax in a different kind of mindset that I never experienced before. So
yeah.
The only other con I would say is the bugs are real when you move. Like the bugs. I mean, but I also, you can't say that's a con because yes, the black flies and the horse flies, the mosquitoes, they come at a certain time and they are relentless. But so do the butterflies, and so do the fireflies, and the bees, and the dragonflies, and
we have an excellent population of pollinators and beneficial insects, and I'm learning about them all the time. I think that is absolutely fascinating. Every time I find eggs, or for some insect eggs or something, I'm have to find out.
There's all the different caterpillars and the different cocoons and
and our son is really into it too. We've really become nature lovers for sure. We've become bird watchers.
Yeah.
We have incredible wildlife and birds here, and it's, I don't know, they just accidentally make you slow down.
Well, it's funny.
And just take it in.
Yeah, you do. You start to notice the things that you never noticed before. And I'll give you an example of that. We were driving the other day, the band, and we were cruising down the highway, and I'm like, "Oh, guys, a hawk!" And they were all looking around. They're like, "Where?" And I was like, "It's right there." And they couldn't.
They couldn't pick it out of the camouflage. Yeah.
And then we did it a couple of times. I saw another couple of hawks, and they thought I was like Crocodile Dundee, basically. And I was just sort of like, I can't believe you guys can't see that, but it's just out here, your mind and your brain trains to sort of see all the crevices, because there's something always to look at. You might just look at
that is so true. We've gotten really good at spotting them. Oh, there's an owl over there. And honestly, it just looks like a little.
Yeah, but we know the landscape so well. I know if it's different.
Yeah.
If there's a different shade of brown on a tree, I'm like, that's not, because it's that's what we stare at, right? So it's
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, I can't think of many cons. I mean, unless you're afraid of a little hard work, because that comes with it. But I mean, it really depends on what you want to take on too. I miss my friends a bit, but they come here and we see them when we can. And
we're also sort of best friends. Not sort of, but we are, and we always have been. So it's we enjoy each other's company. And
yeah.
We hang around each other.
And this has really afforded us the opportunity to spend more time together, and with our son as well, because it takes all of us to keep this place running smoothly. And so we kind of do it as a family unit where, I don't know if I think we all just had separate things going on.
In the city, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. And now we've all got this common bond that brings us together just a little extra than, in the regular family.
Because out here, especially because when we moved here, we didn't meet many people for a while, and it was
COVID. We couldn't meet anybody.
So it was just the three of us, and it's been great. It definitely has tightened the family bond.
It really has. It's been beneficial to everyone. All in all, I would say it's been a really great move, and I've never looked back. Honestly,
no.
It's all full steam ahead here.
Because it's also you see the potential. We've been here for 3 years.
Just 3.
And we've done quite a bit, but even when we go for a walk, every time we go for a walk, we're like, oh, right there could be a bench, and we could clear that out, and right here. And so it's just I don't know if we'll ever get it finished, because we want it to be a touring, you can walk around and have
the perpetual project.
Yeah, which is great. I love it.
I love it too.
So much fun.
Well, I don't know what we're going to get up to next, but we're going to share it with you, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because we don't nail it every time. Sometimes we do. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.
We'll see you soon.